MG Motor Company has surprises in a way because we already knew that the MG3 hybrid was getting unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show this week. You can watch the video we did about that here. But also MG brought along some of its other cars from around the Chinese infrastructure. So SAIC Motors, which owns MG, also owns some other brands called Rising Auto and IM. And they brought some of these models to the Geneva Motor Show labelled as MGs, which gives an indication that maybe they're going to come to Europe and UK as MG models in the near future. So the first car, the MG9, a sort of fastback saloon. It's actually a hatchback, but it looks kind of like a saloon. Similar sort of style really to the Tesla Model 3. The model they showed has a full panoramic glass roof, which reaches down to the tailgate, so it gives it a really cool, crisp look. The interior looks amazing. This car is actually really high-end. It's got double glazed windows, frameless glass doors. So it's got a panoramic sunroof going across the whole thing. Now this MG9 is actually based on the Rising Auto F7, and at the Geneva Motor Show the actual floor mats did still say F7 on them, so it's not been massively converted from the Rising Auto. However, some of the specs that we know, because that model is on sale in China, is it comes with a 90 kWh battery, giving a WLTP range of around 313 miles, and a 0 to 62 time of 3.8 seconds. Maximum power is 400 kilowatts, that's 544 brake horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque in the all-wheel drivetrain it's got. And it is, in fact, in China, it's a battery swappable vehicle, so you can actually drive into a battery swap station. They pull out the battery from underneath the vehicle, put a new one in, and that takes about 2.5 minutes. So as an indication of sort of where this technology can go, if they brought that to Europe, they obviously need battery swapping stations to go with it. But that potentially means that you wouldn't have to worry about rapid charging, you'd just come in and swap your battery. Really exciting. Now that car, as you can see, it's got pop-out door handles, this coupe-like body shape. It's actually really slippery design. It's actually got a drag coefficient of just 0.206. To compare something like an Audi e-tron GT is 0.24. It's a much more slippery aerodynamic design. It's got a total length of 5,000 millimeters, width of 1,953 and a height of 1,494. This actually makes it slightly longer than an Audi e-tron GT as well, so it's a big car this. The wheelbase is 3,000 millimeters. And it comes on 19 or 20 inch wheels, and it's got Brembo brakes. Now looking at the interior of the car, the first thing that hits you, it's got these three massive screens that go across the dashboard. It's got a 10.25 inch driver display, it's got a 15 inch infotainment display, and it's actually got another 12.3 inch screen in front of the passenger seat, so the passenger can watch films whilst the driver's concentrating on their thing. So in total you've got like a 43 inch display running the whole width of the dashboard, which just looks amazing. And you've actually also got an 8 inch display in the rear for the rear passengers to be able to adjust things like climate control and heated seats and move seats around as well, which is very sort of high-end that you wouldn't expect perhaps to find on an MG. Now all those screens are powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8155 chip, so it's really fast, really responsive. The interior, apart from that, is very minimalistic. In the front you've just got two cup holders, there's a little sliding cubby hole which covers a wireless phone charger under there. But around the car it's got 16 speakers, it's got comfort seats, the passenger seat has got a recline mode like we see in the EV9 with a cushion that comes up to support your legs. Now in China this specification of vehicle costs $44,000 US. I suspect when it comes to the UK, by the time it's been converted to right-hand drive and the import taxes have been paid, you're probably looking at close to £50,000 to £60,000. So around the sort of ballpark figure that we think that the MG Cyberster will be when it's put on sale this year in the UK. But certainly for that sort of price point, I don't think you can get anything else that's going to really have that sort of specification there. There's no word actually on whether MG is going to make this right-hand drive and bring it to the UK at the moment, but the indications are that certainly within Europe we may see this in the not too distant future. MG also showed us the MGS9. Now this is like an SUV version of the MG9, so this is based on the Rising Auto R7. A similar sort of shape to a Tesla Model Y and a drag coefficient of 0.238. Which again means it's less than an Audi e-tron GT despite being so much taller. The model that they brought to the show was a rear-wheel drive with 250 kilowatt motor, that's 335 brake horsepower, and that's 450 newton meters of torque. And it'll do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.8 seconds. Now this uses a ternary lithium battery, which is 90 kilowatt hours, and gives it a WLTP range of 333 miles. And again, battery swap capable in China of 2.5 minutes. It's got the same 43-inch triple screen dashboard, so 10.25-inch for the driver, 15-inch for the infotainment screen, and then 12.3 for the passenger. And in China, this model also comes with an augmented reality heads-up display, which is capable of displaying across the entire windscreen of 70 inches and showing you things like navigation, mapping routes and things like that up on the heads-up display, actually overlaying it on the road you're seeing in front of you. And it uses LiDAR sensors, there's 32 sensors on this car, so really impressive on the amount of technology in this. And again, the interior looks very similar to the MG9, so it's got the same sort of level of quality and fit and finish, and just looks amazing. Really would be excited to see MG bring both of these models to the UK. Now, that rear-wheel drive model in China costs around $33,000 which means that it potentially comes in slightly cheaper in this rear-wheel drive format. Could be potentially £45,000 in the UK when it hits the market, if it actually makes it here. So MG also brought to Geneva the IM brand. Now, IM stands for Intelligent Mobility. And that's their new brand that they started in the last sort of 12 months over in China. SAIC seems to be keen on splitting their brands up into lots of different things for different names for different segments. I think in Europe they may well go under the MG banner for everything, because MG is such a well-known brand. Obviously 100 years of heritage with the MG brand in the UK this year, which means that probably most people would recognise it and know the brand, rather than if they brought out IM. They'd have to do all the marketing to go with that as well. Now, the two models we bought, the IM L6 and the IM LS6. Now, the L6 was shown for the first time at the Geneva Motor Show, and the first time it's been seen anywhere in the world. Now, will come with potentially two battery packs. There'll be a 75 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, which will give 372 miles of range, which in itself is impressive. Or they'd also have a 100 kilowatt-hour solid-state MOSFET battery. Now, MOSFET technology basically means using little transistors to store power electronically on a chip rather than having it chemically in a battery. Now, this 100 kilowatt-hour solid-state battery claims up to 497 miles of range. And it's got a 900-volt architecture capable of charging up to 395 kilowatts. To put it into context, the fastest Teslas charge around 250 kilowatts. So potentially we're talking about adding 200 kilometers of range, that's about 120 miles in 5 minutes, which I think is sort of groundbreaking, breathtaking, world-changing for EVs really. So MOSFET solid-state battery technology is what the sort of holy grail of what all car manufacturers are heading towards. Potentially when you've got a car that will do 500 miles on a single charge, and it'll charge in sort of 15-20 minutes on a capable charger. I think that's pretty groundbreaking. It means that it opens up electric vehicles to a whole new demographic. They expect it to be a rival for the Tesla Model 3 when it comes to Europe in the first half of 2025. So little over 12 months from today. And they expect it to start around Tesla Model 3 money, so around sort of £40,000 for that entry-level model with a smaller battery pack. Size-wise, I'll put this on the screen, it's 4931 by 1960, 1474 tall. The wheelbase is 2950 millimeters, so slightly smaller than that MG9 we've just seen. Now, they offer this with either rear-wheel drive with 216 kilowatts of power, or there's an all-wheel drive model with 379 kilowatts motor at the rear and a 200 kilowatt motor at the front. Now, to put that into brake horsepower, that means it's got 508 brake horsepower on the rear axle and 268 brake horsepower on the front axle, making a total of 776 brake horsepower. 776 horsepower, that's ridiculous numbers. But potentially, yeah, you're going to accelerate forwards very, very quickly. So no official number on 0 to 60 time yet, but expect it to be sub 3 seconds and a real sort of, yeah. Don't like making the comparison with Tesla, but we do because it's the biggest electric brand out there really that people have heard of. It's definitely going to be up there as being touted as a Tesla killer. And the LS6 is the SUV version of the L6, looks quite similar. Again, the colours that they had on show were not perhaps the best ones for showing off the lines of the body, but it stands out. What do you think about these cars? Would you like to see them in an MG showroom near you within the next 12 months? Let us know in the comments below. Please like this video. Subscribe to our channel because it means you get notifications when new stuff like this comes out, and when we have more news we'll bring it to you. Thanks for watching and have a great day.